Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So Altona Rare Earths is still called Altona, but we are probably going to change the name soon because we don't do only rare earths anymore. We are listed on the main market on the LSE, and our ticker is REE. We are a junior exploration company focused on critical minerals and focused on Africa. I've not listened to the introduction, so maybe I will repeat. My name is Cédric Simonet. I am the CEO of the company since June last year. I've been with the company for about 4 years, and I am a geologist. I'm based in Africa. I'm actually based in Nairobi. This is our disclaimer. All right, so back in 2021, we acquired a rare earth project in Mozambique, in northern Mozambique, called Monte Muambe. We immediately started drilling. We knew there were rare earths at this site, but we didn't know what sort of quantities we would find and what sort of grade. So we immediately started drilling. So far, we've drilled about 8,000 meters, and we have defined a maiden JORC Mineral Resource Estimate with 13.6 million tons at 2.42% total rare earth oxide, TREO. That is the sum of all the rare earths in the ore. And we are currently in the pre-feasibility stage. Obviously, I will tell you more about this project. And as it often happens with carbonatite rare earth deposits, so carbonatite is a certain type of igneous rock, you sometimes don't have only one commodity. You might have several commodities. And at Monte Muambe, besides the rare earths, we also have fluorspar. And that's quite interesting because there is a small high-grade fluorspar, which we believe we will be able to develop in a very short time. The rare earth project is a large project that will take time. The estimated capex for the rare earth project is $270 million. But the fluorspar project is a small project with a low capex, $1 to $2 million. This is our estimate. So there is a very good opportunity for us to develop the fluorspar project rapidly, to get revenue into the company, possibly by the end of next year, and to use the free cash flow from this revenue to continue funding the rare earth project and also to fund other projects. So talking about other projects, we have two copper exploration projects, one in Botswana and one in Zambia. Both are a little bit similar in the sense that these were low-cost acquisitions. The costs for the next steps of exploration, which are mostly geophysics and soil geochemistry, are relatively low until the point where we get drilling targets. But they've got very, very good technical merits. And in the case of the Sesana copper-silver project in Botswana, there are also good commercial merits because this project is located just next to an existing copper mine, which belongs to a Chinese company called MMG. And MMG is currently expanding the size of their mine. So any discoveries that we might have on this project will be very easy to monetize. It doesn't have to be large enough for a standalone copper mine. As long as this is a resource which can be developed and feed MMG's plant, we'll be able to monetize. Let me talk a little bit about the markets of these three commodities, rare earths and fluorspar and copper. And when I say rare earths, it's actually not one commodity. It's 17 different elements. 15 of them are present at Monte Muambe. And the most important, well, for us, these are neodymium, praseodymium, terbium, and dysprosium. For you who is watching this screen is built with yttrium, europium, and dysprosium. Without these rare earths which are contained in this screen, you wouldn't see the colors on the screen. So rare earths are all around you. When you look at the screen of your phone, you're also looking at rare earths. Anyway, by value, the most important rare earths are neodymium, praseodymium, terbium, and dysprosium. They are called the magnet rare earths. They represent about 90% of the value contained in the ground at Monte Muambe. And these rare earths are very important nowadays because they are used to manufacture permanent magnets, and these permanent magnets are used to manufacture wind turbines, electric vehicles, drivetrain, and nowadays robot joints. All these little joints in the robots, each of them has got a magnet. All right. So the consumption, it's a relatively new market, it's a new industry, and that comes with some difficulties. But the consumption of magnets, permanent magnets, is estimated to be multiplied by 3 between now and 2040. So it's a market with very strong long-term fundamentals. You might not have heard of fluorspar. Nowadays we call fluorspar a critical mineral, but it was an industrial mineral which has been used for hundreds of years. This stand here is made of steel. Any metal, if you want to smelt it, you need fluorspar. If you want to produce aluminum, you need fluorspar. So that's a very important use. It's called metallurgical use of fluorspar. Fluorspar is also used to extract the element fluoride to hydrofluoric acid, and that goes to any product that contains fluoride around you. In your fridge, the refrigeration gas contains fluoride, which is extracted from fluorspar. So it's very interesting because it's in terms of market and in terms of price, it's a well-established market, and the prices have been sustainably, steadily growing, which we like a lot. Additionally, it's also a critical mineral because you need fluoride to manufacture certain parts of lithium batteries. You cannot make a lithium batteries without fluoride. And it takes about 45 kilos of fluorspar to produce one electric vehicle. I'm sure you're more familiar with the market with copper, also because of the electricity conduction implications, a critical mineral which consumption is expected to grow as a result of the green energy transition. So these are all critical minerals, and interestingly, if you look at this chart, which explores the overlap between the critical mineral list of China, the EU, and the US, you find that these 3 minerals are in the center. They are on all critical minerals lists, so they are very important: copper, fluorspar, and rare earths. Well, relevant, yes, but relevant to the point of inscribing them on a critical minerals list and maybe having certain regulations for these minerals or certain incentives, no. Each country has got its own priorities, but these 3 minerals are in the priorities of all countries. Let's go to Monte Muambe. So Monte Muambe is located in Tete province in Northwest Mozambique, just near the border with Malawi. It's a very safe and mature mining region of southern Africa, just about 50 kilometers from the mine. There are 2 large coal mines, one that belongs to Vulcan, it used to be Vale, and one that belongs to ICVL, and it used to be Rio Tinto. So there's a lot of equipment and service suppliers in the area. There is an international airport. We have access to green energy through the Kahorabasa hydropower plant, which is located 160 kilometers from the mine. And we have access to 2 different railway options to get to the Indian Ocean: the Nacala corridor that goes to Nacala, which is the most modern, and the Sena line that goes to the container port of Beira. So it's an excellent place to have a mining project. In terms of tenement, in terms of license, we have been operating on a prospecting license. We have since then applied for a mining license, which will have a duration of 25 years, and we expect this mining license to be granted before the end of this year. So all the steps have been passed. It's just for the minister to sign the license. The project is held under an earn-in agreement with the original owners of the license. we've completed the first 2 phases. We are now in the 3rd phase, the pre-feasibility study. So our current holding of the project, of the companies that hold the asset, is 51%. Upon completion of the pre-feasibility study for the rare earth project, we will get to 70%. Once we have the mining concession, we will secure the land rights. This process has already been started, and the environmental impact assessment license will be done as part of the pre-feasibility study. A little bit of geology. So this is the carbonatite intrusion in the center in brown. We've done a soil sampling survey over the whole area. We've identified 11 targets with rare earths. And the resource estimate that I gave you of 13.6 million tons at 2.42% TREO corresponds to 2 of these 11 targets. So there is a lot of potential to increase further the size of the resource. Comparing with other companies' pre-feasibility and definitive feasibility studies, we know that the good size for a carbonatite rare earth project is around 20 to 30 million tons. So we are almost there. A very important thing, this maiden mineral resource estimate already has about 60% of the tonnage in the indicated category. We didn't drill randomly. We drilled what we thought could become a viable mining project. So we already have a relatively high level of confidence. Now, this rare earth ore contains a little bit of fluorspar, about 15%. It's an accessory mineral. As part of the metallurgical study, we are looking at how we can extract this fluorspar as a byproduct of the rare earths. That's part of the rare earth project. But on this western side, we also have what we call the fluoride zone, where geological processes have remobilized and reconcentrated fluorspar. And there we have veins which are relatively small, but the grade is very, very high, 50 to 70%. So much higher than in the original ore here. And this is very interesting for us because it's an opportunity to develop and to get some cash flow in. I will explain a bit more. This is what Monte Muambe looks like from the sky. Target 1 for rare earths is here. Target 4 is here. The fluoride zone is there. Our camp is here. The road passes in the forest here. 2 important things you can see. Nobody lives there. So there are no issues of resettlement. There is a community around, and of course they have their say about what we are doing, but nobody will need to be moved from their homes, which is very important. The other thing is that this basin here is about 4 kilometers in diameter. There is enough space to fit the open pits, the dumps, the plants, the tailing storage facility, the power plant, everything, and there will still be a lot of forest left. So it's an opportunity to have a mining operation separated from the rest of the environment, which is a very good thing in my opinion. So let's talk a little bit more about the fluorspar project. So these fluorspar veins, again, are high grade. This is an opportunity to produce a sellable product with a very, very simple process. When a mineral is at a high grade, you can easily produce a sellable product. When I say easily, we are talking about crushing, no milling, and then gravity concentration using jigs or a dense medium separation plant, which is very simple. That would get us to a product with 80 to 85% CaF2 fluorite, which is a metallurgical grade and which is sellable. Conceptually, we are looking at a production of 15 to 20,000 tons per annum. And the capex for a project like this would be between $1 and $2 million. So what we are doing at the moment to fast track this project, I was on site with my team last month. We took a sample of 300 kilos of representative ore, which we have sent to the lab, which we are sending to buyers and off-takers. And we have talked already with some of these buyers and off-takers. And once we get the results of the lab analysis and the feedback from the potential buyers and off-takers, we will do a simple scoping study If that scoping study is positive, then we will go with the development of the project. We will not need more studies, and we will be able to fund this project very simply using prepayments from buyers and using a loan from a local bank on the back of an offtake agreement. So an opportunity to develop a revenue stream into the company. 15 to 20,000 tons per annum would represent about $6 to $8 million revenue sales per annum. And without having to dilute our existing shareholders, it would be self-funded, and it would bring cash into the company that we can spend on other projects. The rare earth project. Now, the rare earth project, as I explained, is a long-term project. This one needs a series of studies. We are in the Prefeasibility Study. Currently, we are focusing on two key activities. One is getting the mining license, which is a very important de-risking activity. And the other one is the metallurgy. Rare earth projects typically have a complex metallurgy, so we are putting a lot of attention on this. We are working with SGS Lakefields in Canada, which is one of the experts on rare earth metallurgy. And for us, it's very important in particular because there are three steps for the extraction of the rare earths. One is actual mining, excavation. Number two is beneficiation to produce a concentrate. Number three is hydrometallurgy to produce a synthetic product, which is called a mixed rare earth carbonate. So if we can improve the parameters of the second part, which is the beneficiation, that will have a significant impact to reduce the cost, the OPEX in particular, of the hydrometallurgy. The OPEX of the hydrometallurgy is 50% of the total OPEX. So if we can reduce this, there will be very big benefits on the total cost of operations. We are looking for a strategic investor to come on board for this project. When we say a strategic investor, that's someone who will need the products, someone who is in the value chain for rare earths. We've been talking with different parties, but we've seen a lot of interest from the US government. We've been talking with them for a while. So far, they indicated that they were not able to support the project until the DFS stage. But very recently, actually the day the elections results were announced, they called back, they said they might have some possibilities now to fund the PFS, which is where we are. So we are hoping that this will take us somewhere, but they are very interested. Funding through the strategic investor would come at the level of the project, at the level of the local subsidiary. So again, that would be non-dilutive for existing Altona shareholders. All right, let's go to Botswana. We call our project the Sesana Copper Silver Project. It's located in the Kalahari Copper Belt. The Kalahari Copper Belt is kind of a new play. It's been explored mostly for the past 15 years. Only 2 mines have been opened, but that is an opportunity. The reason why it has not been explored so far is that there is a layer of sand at the surface, which obscures what is beneath. But with modern geophysical and geochemical methods, it's possible to see through this. So on this map, what you can see, these blue lines correspond to the contact zone between two geological formations. And if you look where the green dots are, which are copper deposits, you can see they are right on the blue lines. These blue lines can be identified from airborne geophysical surveys, regional airborne geophysical survey. So we already know that this blue line of potential passes through our license. There's about 11 kilometers of it. So we already know that this project has got very strong technical merits. Now, the next steps are going to be detailed geophysics in order to determine where we want to drill. And we will be drilling next year. The other interesting part, again, this red area here is MMG's mining license, 25 kilometers from where we are. So if we have a discovery, it doesn't have to be large, it just has to be high grade. We will be able to monetize this discovery very quickly. In Zambia, our project is called Kabompo. So this project is not in the main Central Africa copper belt, where it's mostly sedimentary copper deposits. It's off this belt. It's in an area with potential for IOCG copper deposits. And we recently had a review of geophysical data done, and that review concluded to the presence of granite intrusions in purple, which are associated to IOCG deposits. So a very clear geological model. We know what we are looking for. The next steps, again, geophysics and geochemistry, and then we'll get to drilling. IOCG is not a very common model for copper deposits in Zambia, but it is valid. There are some deposits which have been found. In particular, a deposit called Kitumba, which is located a couple of 100 kilometers to the east. And Kitumba has proven and probable reserves, not resources, reserves of 13.5 million tons, 2% plus copper. And Kitumba, the inauguration for the construction of the mine took place in August. So this mine is actually being developed. A little bit of corporate information. So our ticker, again, REE, main market, 163 million shares in the issue. Our current market cap is about 3.3 million pounds. Our main investors, Trakarta Limited. This is an individual called John Wardle, who is relatively famous for having been the CEO of a company called Amerisur, oil and gas company, and who is currently investing in mining projects in Africa. Richard Jennings. These are our main investors at the moment. We raised 1.3 million pounds in July. Our current G&A has fallen down to less than 50,000 pounds per month. We are very cost conscious. Our current exploration and field activities are not cost intensive. So this amount is going to last for quite a while. The board and management, we have two executive directors, myself and Louise Adrian, who is here with our CFO, and two non-executive directors, again, trying to keep cost, but a good and competent team. And we have very good in-country support with our project manager, Luis Veloso, who is a Mozambican geologist, and the non-executive chairman of the local subsidiary, Pedro Manjate, who is the original owner of the license and who has always been very, very supportive, especially when it comes to relationships with the government. So the key takeaways, most important thing for us right now is to focus on the fluorspar deposit. We want to get this fluorspar deposit in production. We want to get the revenue in. In these markets, it's difficult to raise funds, so that can be an alternative to having to raise funds. And we are going to continue very seriously on this. We've built a lot of value through the exploration that we've done at Monte Muambe. We've taken this project from being just a prospect with non-rare earths to a pre-feasibility study now. So what we are trying to do is basically to increase the number of opportunities for the company to monetize rapidly its assets, either through development, that is the case of the fluorspar deposit, or through disposal of some of the assets after doing a little bit of exploration, a discovery, maybe a resource statement, and that is the case of the copper deposits. At 3.3 million pounds, we believe that the company is a bargain. There has been two research notes published about the company, one last month, the other one last year, and coincidentally both came back with the same sort of estimate for the value of our 51% of Monte Muambe, and that came to about 12 million pounds. So it's a bargain. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cedric. Right, any questions in the room?
Hi, Cedric.
Hi.
Yeah, what's the history of Altona Rare Earths? How long has it been going? Have you always been in rare earths, or have been another exploration company?
Okay, so Altona Rare Earths, I believe, was registered in 2005 or 2006, so quite a while ago. And it has been involved for a long time in coal projects, or actually coal gasification projects in Australia. That was before my time. I was hired by the company in late 2020 when the company was moving from this asset in Australia, dropped these assets in Australia, and wanted to become a rare earth company.
Wasn't that Altona Energy then, is it?
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
It was called Altona Energy, and we changed to Altona Rare Earths.
Yeah.
It's a completely new company, a new board. Louise and I were with the company before, but we were appointed as CEO and CFO in June last year when we moved from Akuis to the LSE. The current chairman was also appointed at that time. And the other non-executive director with the CEO of Iron Veld came on board in July.
How realistic is the next stage of all these is moving from exploration, from proving into production, and that involves external finance, which is traditionally dilutive. I know you mentioned that at least one of your exit routes is non-dilutive, but from a shareholder's perspective, how realistic is it that you can finance the next stage?
All right. The first thing is that this fluorspar project, this small fluorspar project, for me is very well defined. I used to mine fluorspar in France 20 years ago with a company called Sogerem, which was a subsidiary of Alcan, and then it became Rio Tinto. So at the time we had 2 open pits, 1 underground mine, 1 acid grade flotation plant, and 1 metallurgical grade DMS plant, dense medium separation. So I'm very, very familiar with this type of mineral, and I can see when I'm on the ground, I can see how this can be mined, how the product can be produced, and we are confirming that we are able to have a sellable product through the lab testing and through the conversations with the off-takers. In terms of funding, I have already talked with local banks. I know what is possible and what is not possible. We've had conversations with commodity traders. We've seen a lot of interest for fluorspar. It's a mineral which is in demand. You're not going to, if you look at the price of fluorspar, you're not going to see peaks like you've seen for rare earths, for lithium, for antimony. On the contrary, you will see a steady growth, which for us is a lot more sustainable. So the demand is non-stop. Fluorspar is found in mostly in China, in Mongolia, in Mexico, in South Africa, but it's used all over the world. There used to be fluorspar production in the UK until recently. There is no more fluorspar production in the UK, but there are still dozens of companies that use fluorspar for whatever applications they need. So it's a very steady market.
Thank you. Further questions?
How much cash infusion do you need? That's my first question. And in how many years do you need to build the power plant in Muambe and also basically deliver fluorspar?
Okay, so the fluorspar project will take about $1 to $2 million. The activities that we are currently doing, basically laboratory tests and sending samples out to buyers, that costs almost nothing. The next step, once we've got that, is a scoping study for that project that will be internal. The cost of that will be very, very low. If the study is positive, we go immediately into sourcing the funds for the development of the project. In terms of timeline, everything goes well. Possibly by the end of next year, we would be in production.
Thank you very much indeed, Cedric.
Thank you.
Very interesting.